Two Middle-Aged Men in Cleveland, episode 90, but we're missing one of the middle-aged men. Ken Dworsnik is on his honeymoon. We talked about that last time, and so he's in the Michigan area, which, I don't know, you wouldn't normally think is a place to go on a honeymoon, but, hey, from what I've seen on Facebook, they're having a good time. So we have one middle-aged man and one young lady here.
Yeah. You called me young. Thank you, Ted.
Well, I've been around long enough to know. This is Sherry Russo, our longtime friend who has joined us to debate worldly topics periodically, has joined us to help me get through the show this week. And so Ken's on his honeymoon, Sherry, and I thought it might be interesting. You were at my wedding. You were a reader in my wedding.
Yes.
And I was at your wedding. So I thought it might be fun to, since Ken just got married, we'll save the notable things that happened to Ken's wedding for next time when he's here. But I thought it might be fun. What are one or two fun things that stand out from my wedding that you as an attendee recall?
Well, people listening to the show may not know this, but we have been friends for a long time, Ted, and yes. we met working at WMFD TV in Mansfield, Ohio. And one of the groomsmen was also one of our really good friends who also worked at the TV station.
Sure, he was the best man.
Yeah, that's true. He was the best man. I actually,
although he almost wasn't the best man. But
yeah,
go ahead.
Yes. And that's the story, of course, is that I had a very young my oldest was very young at the time of this wedding. So this was my husband and I's first getaway from a toddler, in the early days of being a parent. So we were there early. We were excited to be at your wedding. We were thrilled for the opportunity to have a night out. And so we were sitting in the pews, and I don't remember exactly what time your wedding was supposed to start, but I think it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. One. Okay. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And, 1 o'clock comes and goes. And there's no music and people are sitting there and we're all kind of looking at each other like, what's going on? I believe 1:15 came and went without the wedding starting. And I was starting to worry that someone decided that this wasn't what they wanted to do. That was what was going through my head. Either you or Erica was changing your mind. And so we kept looking, my husband, Tom, and I kept looking at each other and we were like, what is going on here? Weddings normally are pretty punctual. And this one isn't. And I don't know what time it actually started. Was it close to 1:30?
It was between 1:15 and 1:20, because if you look at the wedding video, the doors, when they open and Erica walks in, right above the doors is the clock.
Yeah.
So okay. Clearly tell. It was about 1:18, I think. Not that I remember the exact time or anything.
1:18, and I did not know why it started late. The wedding was beautiful after that. Everything seemed fine. I came to learn later that our mutual friend, Greg, who was the best man, was late. Was late to your wedding.
Late.
Yep. And I believe he was contacting you on his way there, telling you he got stuck in traffic or some absurd excuse for why he was not there.
He was coming in from Pennsylvania because he'd been visiting family, and we're getting married in Cleveland, and he didn't allow enough time. And then he's asking me for directions, and I'm still pretty much a West Sider, and this church is on the Near East Side. And our priest is very traditional, by the book. And the idea that I would be on a cell phone in the sacristy is just, that's not supposed to happen.
No.
Much less me hand the phone to the priest to have him give directions to the best man. And then about 10 after 1, my soon-to-be mother-in-law came to the back of came into the sacristy and said, "Ted, this isn't fair to Erica. This isn't fair to our guests. This is
awful.
This is awful."
Yeah.
And I was standing there like, what am I supposed to do? He's the best man. I'm here. I'm ready to go. Let's go. And thankfully, the priest overheard the conversation and he walked over and he said, Karen, I've talked to the best man. He's almost here. He'll be here in a couple minutes and then we'll get started and everything will be fine. And I remember my mother-in-law was like, okay.
Yeah, what are you going to say to that? Yeah.
She returned to her seat. And minutes later, Greg was in the back. And I remember I was adjusting his tie saying, aren't you supposed to be doing this for me? And then, of course, we go out and I'm standing there at the altar waiting for Erica to come down the aisle. And of course, the guy shooting the video gets the shot of the doors open and there's Erica. And then there's the shot of me in the corner. And the groom is supposed to look, thrilled to see his soon to be bride or soon to be wife.
Yep.
And I look like I'm at a funeral.
You were a little stressed out.
Well, about halfway down, and I remember thinking this at the time. I remember thinking, everybody's looking at her and at me. I better look happy. And my expression on my face in one fell swoop went from looking like I was at a funeral to the biggest smile I could possibly find. So yeah, that was
pretty awesome. Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, I think the funniest thing is that is still a running joke to this day with Greg. Every time he's supposed to be anywhere, there's a joke about whether or not he's going to be late.
Well, I don't want to get into his life too much, but let's just say he's had more than one opportunity to get married, and he's invited us. And when he invites us, I always say, now, what time's the wedding? And I usually tell him, I'll be there 15 or 20 minutes after.
Yeah, of course. Yep, that makes sense.
Now, your wedding, you did a couple of things that I hadn't seen at a wedding before.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
You had, instead of clinking the glasses to get the couple to kiss, you required people to go up and sing a few phrases from a love song in order to get that to happen.
Yep.
And, Ken and I have been friends for several years. And so we were both at the wedding. And I suggested that he and I do the Love Boat. So we went up and sang the Love Boat. And that was one thing that was quite humorous.
Yep.
But I think what took the cake was, and I got to give Ken full credit on this. You had this idea that I hadn't seen before where you put disposable cameras on the tables with the idea being that attendees can take pictures of each other having fun at the wedding.
Yep.
And you were this was at a party center and there's more than one reception going on. So Ken has the great idea. And so Ken and I take your camera and go to the other wedding reception, tell the bride and groom what we're doing and get all kinds of pictures with them, with their attendees and people. They thought this was the greatest idea. And we didn't say a word to you.
Nope.
And then you develop the film and I get this call 2 or 3 weeks later and hello? And all I hear is, what the bleepity bleep is this?
It didn't take, knowing you and Ken, as well as I had come to know you over the years, it did not surprise me at all. It took me less than a second to figure out what you did.
Yeah. But
I thought it was pretty hilarious. And those are actually some of my favorite pictures from those disposable cameras. So anonymous
other wedding people.
Yes, anonymous other wedding people. The only other thing that really stands out to me, aside from Greg being late to your wedding, we're just going to keep putting that in there.
Is there something else that trumps that? But go ahead.
No, I don't think it trumps it. But I remember that your wedding clearly, as it should have, had a lot of German themes to it. I remember that.
Was it a German reception hall?
Right. Yes. I remember that. And I don't remember all the details, so you'll have to fill me in, but I remember feeling intimidated by the fact that I did not have enough wine knowledge to be able to.
Oh, wow. My father-in-law is a wine connoisseur.
Yeah.
And we had to rent wine glasses from other party halls because you have to have the, I don't know. There's 3 wine glasses at a proper setting.
Yes.
So you have to have the red wine glass, the white wine glass, and I don't know if it's the appetizer wine glass or what and then I guess you could probably also have a dessert wine glass, but I think we did 3. But yeah, there was, and I remember him saying, like, he used to get, a couple bottles from this particular vineyard in California and this one over here and blah, 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 blah. So he called such and so vineyard, and these places do small runs.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need 2, I don't remember what the name of the when you get several bottles, 2 boxes. I need 15 boxes of your blah, blah, blah wine. Well, we only sell 2 at a time. I'm sorry, you don't understand. My only daughter is getting married. I need blah, blah. And so there was a negotiation that went on. But yes, there was more than one bottle of wine that was consumed. And I'm told a good time was had by all. And about 9 months later, there was more than one child that was born.
Of that wedding night? Wow.
I don't know.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember knowing that no matter what I did, I was not going to have the right type of wine in the right glass, and I was going to mess up, and he was not going to be happy with me. That's all I remembered.
And was he unhappy with you? Or
I think he corrected me a couple of times. You? Yeah. It was very nice about it, but yes. I was clearly I was not a wine snob, and so I needed to be one. And
not a wine snob, but a wine drinker.
Yeah, I am. Yes, I'm a wine drinker. Okay. I'm not a wine snob.
All right.
So there you go.
Well, that's so we'll hear about Ken's wedding when he's back in a couple weeks, but still to come on this show, Cleveland's. Now, I should point out that I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Some of the segments on this show we record well in advance. So you're going to hear Ken at certain points on this show. So don't be surprised when that happens if you hear Ken and not Sherry. Nonetheless, Cleveland sports historian Dusty Sloan is going to be here and talk about when the Cleveland Indians were owned by Bill Veeck. That's an interesting story. We'll also visit with animal rescuer Lori Martinelli. She has a rescue farm in Lorain County, and we'll learn more about that. We have an overachiever. We have good news about the name Josh. We have a misspeak of the week. And in Klopp's Klips, a story of what might be the worst time ever to see your brother. That and more coming up.
And now, a woman's perspective.
What do you call a man with an opinion? Wrong.
This has been a woman's perspective.
Overachievers here. Ted, that of course is not you.
Dang it.
A school teacher in Spain has earned a Guinness World Record. 35-year-old Daniel Alcon, who uses the stage name Dalcon, took to the Guinness record for this.
Right, yo. We're ready to go.
Wrong. Stone.
This is why I'm here, so I'm ready, yo. Life's a competition, survive a daily mission. I just want you and I to be in a better position. I want to do.
Gary, what What are we listening to there?
Well, that's the world's longest freestyle rap. Dalcon skipped sleep for 2 nights to rap consecutively for, get this, 39 hours and 37 minutes. This isn't the first time he's tried for this record. Last year, he tried to beat a mark of 33 hours and 33 minutes and 16 seconds. Dalcon performed for 35 hours only to discover the record had already been beaten, and the new mark was more than 36 hours. That's when he called his witnesses and told them they needed to do it again.
Boy, there's a call you don't want.
Yeah, exactly. According to Guinness rules, Dalcon's rap marathon had to be overseen by witnesses to ensure he stuck to strict rules during his world record attempt. The rules stipulated that Dalcon was allowed 30 seconds to catch his breath between raps. The beats had to be continuous and was given a 5-minute break for every hour he rapped. So there's how it goes. That's how you get the world's longest freestyle rap record.
Sherry, we're good friends, but I got to tell you, I don't think I could sit there for 39 hours if you went for this record.
No, gosh, no, same. 39 hours. I mean,
that's 2 days.
There's sleep. Yeah, there's sleep that needs to be had in there somewhere. Yeah. I would be interested to hear what the last, the 39th hour sounds like.
Yeah.
It can't be good. It can't be energetic. It can't be anything. It just has to be bad at that point.
Oh boy. Freestyle rap for 39 hours. Right. Well, I guess if you're going to overachieve, that's
that's one way to do it, I guess. I don't think, if I were going to be an overachiever, I'm not sure freestyle rap would be the first place I would think to go, but that's just me.
Blah 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 blah.
Today's guest resides in Wellington, Ohio, and is involved in something which literally saves lives. Despite working 60 hours a week in a regular job, our guest works with all kinds of different four-legged animals, which have found a safe haven at a farm called Tranquil Acres. I know this story is going to be something everyone will appreciate. Let's talk with Lori Martinelli. Lori, thank you so much for the time. We really appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Well, first off, let's just go right into it. Please talk about where Tranquil Farm is and basically what it's all about.
Okay, so again, thank you for the opportunity. Tranquil Acres is located in Wellington, Ohio. We're probably about 50 minutes southwest of Cleveland. I was really heavily established Tranquil Acres Farm in 2018 when I relocated from Southern Ohio for my job. My father and son have helped develop Tranquil Acres with me and have supported me 100%. I've always rescued animals of all types. We came to this location with 6 rescued horses, but it began I began to get heavily involved in horses once I learned about the kill pen process that the horses can go through. They've always been a therapy animal for me, and I just wanted to help. I wanted to help in whatever way that we could. My family had a lot of life altering events that happened in 2018. And I began to see that I needed these rescues just as much as they needed us. So I began to work with various kill pens throughout the United States. Once a horse is sent to an auction, many people don't realize that if they don't sell at that auction, then they go to a kill pen.
Wow.
Yeah, once they're in a kill pen, it's a rough situation. You often have 50 plus horses in round pens that are trampling each other. They're sick, they're scared.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then these horses are tagged and they're loaded up and they're shipped to Mexico or Canada for consumption. So I have worked with many groups to save as many horses as possible in the last probably 10 years. But once they arrive at my farm, we do the best that we can at rehabilitating and offering a safe and secure home for the balance of their life. Once they're here, they stay. Tranquil Acres, we also offer on-site leases to these horses once rehabilitated for the 4-H kids that are free of charge. They sign a lease and they're responsible for their daily care. Many special needs, children's and adults visit on the weekends, and they've picked their favorites. It's not hard. They're all special. But they bring snacks and they groom or they just hang out. Some people are experienced at riding, so they'll ride, but it's very therapeutical for the folks to come on the weekends.
Now, on your Facebook page, Lori, it says, our farm offers a safe haven for all types of animals. We take pride in the home we offer our four-legged friends, and they are lifelong members. The Martinelli family welcomes visitors of all ages. So is there a limit to the type of animals that you accept? And talk about that kind of that process of the rescue.
Okay. No, there's no limit. Actually, we have brought in so many different types of animals. We currently have 8 large horses, 5 mini horses, a donkey, 2 goats, 4 barn cats, and 10 chickens.
That's outstanding. What about the partridge in the pear tree?
Right. Hey, we'll accept that as well, for sure. All animals are accepted as long as the room permits. All the animals in some way have been failed by humans, so they all come in as a special case and have to be treated as such. They all have their own story. As I said earlier, I follow several kill pens throughout the U.S. that I trust and have worked with. Wisconsin, Kansas, Texas, and North Carolina are the ones that I have the most experience and the most positive experiences with. So I follow these on Facebook. I follow their websites so that I can see the horses that are coming in. In these kill pens, they get horses that, again, didn't sell from auction. Many are injured, severely underweight, abused, and have been so neglected. So once I see a worst case, and I tend to get this connection, that horse is assigned a bail number, and it's a sticker that is stuck on them, and it might have a number 5968, whatever. That bail number is associated with a bail fee. So you've got a bail fee that ranges anywhere from $500 up to $2,000. You've got to pay that fee for them to be safe and to be taken out of that kill pen, which then generally these kill pens will have a barn associated with them. That horse is assigned to a stall. But these kill pens, again, consist often of 50 plus horses in close quarters. They're catching illnesses from each other. They're trampling each other. The chosen horse must be pulled, and quarantine is the best bet. Most of the kill pens I work with will provide vet care as needed at your cost. They need to be transported. For a horse to be transported across any state line, they must have a vet certified Coggins test. I usually quarantine the animal at a local sanctuary in that state for 30 days. And this just ensures that no disease comes into my barn and it protects my current horses. That cost is $15 a day. They provide hay and water, and most reputable kill pens will provide updates and state of that horse, give you that daily update. If they need additional vet care, they'll work with you. But once they've been quarantined, I contact a transporter, and I have a really good friend here local in Wellington. The name of that company is Ellen Equine Elite Transporter. She transports all over the United States, but I know that they're going to get the best of care because some of these horses loading up are dehydrated, so severely underweight, they're weak. So there's a lot that goes into that transport in their care during the time it takes to get back to Ohio. Once the animal begins their descent home, we're ready on this end. We've got the stall ready. We've got the vet check ready. And once they get here, they're often defeated and just exhausted and scared. So we give that horse a couple of days or that animal and allow them to settle in. They get that vet check usually immediately the very next day they've been here so that we know what care they need. And then once they get the routine of the barn, we begin working with the horse and gaining their trust.
That's outstanding. Wow, what a process that is. My gosh. So going back to your Facebook page, by the way, which is awesome. If you like pictures of horses and to see the different horses that you guys have at your facility, it is awesome. I highly recommend everybody go there. So a few weeks ago, you showed a picture of an arena being built, and it mentioned a special needs camp. Can you talk about what this camp is all about at Tranquil Acres?
Absolutely. So the shell of the barn is up, and we're very excited because this building is going to provide year-round opportunities for the special needs camps and children and adults that like to interact and ride and spend time with the animals. So we've had to limit ourselves in the special need camps due to weather. Obviously, the building is still in need of electric. We need to put a driveway in. And then the floor of the arena is sand, and it takes about 50 ton, which is quite costly. So we're in the process of fundraising. The final cost to complete is about $40,000. In 2021, we did hold 3 special needs camps outside. They were phenomenal. We had 100 plus attendees. These camps have various stations for the children and adults to attend. We usually have a sensory table of all the things that go into the animal's care, like grain and hay, so that these individuals can touch and feel when it goes into to take care of the horses. We also have several hands-on games which go over really well. We have grooming stations for the goats and the minis and large horses. So you don't necessarily have to ride. You can just be present and around the horses. And for those that do want to ride, they just sign a waiver, and we've got a team that helps them get on and walk with the horses and ride. The great thing about these camps is not only the smiles on the children's faces, a lot are nonverbal, but they become very excited and very at ease, but also meeting the families as well that we've met across the state of Ohio. It's been amazing.
So I see you talked about bringing in all these different animals, and animals, like people, have their own personalities. Is there one that you've rescued that was maybe more memorable than the others? Can you talk about maybe one of your favorites?
Yeah, it's tough because everybody comes in with that personality, and they come in with a strong one. So it takes a while to really get them to open up to you. This past year, we brought in a total of 7 horses that were saved from slaughter, but we also sadly lost 3. By the time they get to us, we do the best we can. And the only thing I can hope for is that their last days, they felt love, they felt safe and secure. And generally that's the case. I had a tough case, probably my most severe, that came in October, and his name was Tonka. He was a black and white paint. Many referred to him as a medicine hat. And a medicine hat to the Indians, they cherish these horses as they're known as noble and spiritual in protecting their owners. And a medicine hat, Tonka was an all white face. You can see him on our Facebook page. And he had a black cap to his ears and the top of his head. And he was just majestic, amazing looking. He was so neglected that he could barely walk. Getting off the trailer, he collapsed when he got here. And that's not uncommon. But his injuries were so extreme. He was still a stud, and you could tell that was the majority of his life. He was used as a stud. Once he couldn't stand any longer, I do have a bit of his past from some folks that have stepped forward. I have found out that his hoofs were curled and so neglected and not being trimmed and cared for that his owner sent him to auction, and he didn't sell, right? So he found himself in a kill pen where he was trampled by all the other horses. He was unable to fend for himself, and he sustained about 4 broken ribs, a broken coffin bone, and several injuries on his limbs, really. Yeah, sad. He arrived here in October. We were finally able to haul him. I was working with another group, and they were able to care for him until he was able to haul. Upon his arrival, he was so let down by humans. He instantly trusted me, and I felt honored. So his injuries were so painful. He was on daily pain management. I had to wrap his legs at least in ice 3 times a day, keep the swelling down, keep the pain down. He had special shoes. He was fed 4 times a day to increase his weight. But I had an amazing team of people that helped me make the decisions that were right for him in his certain case, because you learn a lot through every one of these horses. The community had really come together. They had many fundraisers, and he had daily visitors because he was so majestic. I think he helped more people in so many ways then we helped him. I believe he was brought here for a reason. So we had x-rayed him upon his arrival in October, again in December, and then in February to kind of understand the extent of the injuries in hope that they would heal with the care that we were providing with the team we had. So, but meanwhile, this gentleman had a chiropractor, a dentist, a holistic doctor, an amazing team of farriers that came together out of the Ohio State location. And they were here weekly. And we had 2 different vet specialists that focused on Tonka. So I learned a lot. We had a lot of time and effort that went into making a quality of life for this guy. He was strong, very noble, and he taught me so much about his care, more patience, and how to listen. When he arrived, I felt like I couldn't understand what he was trying to say, but I soon learned how to listen. He didn't often show that he was in pain, but he and I began to communicate. So in February, sadly, the x-rays showed severe bone deterioration. So those years of abuse had caught up with him, and he was only 14 years old. He had a lot of life, but he trusted me with his life, and I laid him to rest in February.
Oh my gosh, what a story that is. That would be very difficult. So the question that I have that goes along with that to an extent, so of all the wonderful things you're doing at Tranquil Acres, are there other farms, are there other facilities doing something similar to you that you've connected with? And have there been other places that maybe have reached out to you or said, hey, I'm interested in doing the same thing. How do we do this? Have you had those conversations?
Yeah, many. I think people reach out weekly because I often share horses that are in other kill pens that I can't save.
Sure.
I want to know the process, so we share that. But I have an interesting case with a horse that I rescued from Texas. She had been in a facility as a broodmare, which meant she did nothing but have babies her entire life. So,
oh my gosh,
very unhandled. She was branded. She had a number 158 on her side. But as I was trying to save her, I got connected on Facebook. As I was tagging her through the kill pen, I became very good friends with 2 people. One, I'll just refer to them as their state and where they came from. One was from Virginia, and one was from the country of Belgium. And this gentleman had been following Gracie as much as I had been. So they were in the same pursuit of helping save her. We connected on Facebook. Virginia paid the vet fees. I paid the bail at the kill pen. And Belgium paid for the sanctuary fees during her quarantine period of 30 days. It kind of goes to show you that I didn't know them and how 3 strangers came together and can collaborate just to save this beautiful creature.
That is awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really
She came to the farm and she enjoyed her final days. She was here less than a year. She had developed cancer and sadly she passed, but she passed in peace and she knew she was safe. I also contribute to organizations that are trying to stop the wild horse roundups out west. And I currently have helped save a Mustang. She's beautiful. She is currently in Virginia for rehabilitation and training. And then as soon as she's trained, she'll come to my farm. During the helicopter roundup, she was one that was injured and she's now blind. So like I said, many rescues reach out to me weekly to save or assist in some way with special needs horses. I've met some amazing people through this endeavor, and I appreciate their experience and their contributions.
So I know many of our listeners are very generous folks. Does Tranquil Acres accept donations?
You know, we do, and they're much appreciated because often the vet cases, as in Tonka's case, his vet bills exceeded well above $10,000. And
wow.
It can be extensive at times. We accept donations. Those can be sent to my PayPal account, which is on the Facebook page, or many visit in person to drop off, not just monetary. You know, on a daily basis, I've got horses that are on simple things like Benadryl. I need paper towels, cotton balls, many things. People just drop off, and it's so welcome. The weekends are filled with visitors and volunteering, grooming, or just offering their love to the horses. We also accept checks that can be mailed to the farm address.
question I have, obviously, I think Ted would be very good at the grooming. I think that would be a great job for him. So we'll have to line that up.
Yeah, right.
It'd be wonderful. So question I have, I mean, once again, thank you so much for your time today. Absolutely outstanding, amazing information. So once again, if people are interested about the hours of Tranquil Acres and how they can get there, or maybe you have some other events coming up that maybe you want to talk about lastly, please let us know where to go to find this information.
Okay. Yep. You can locate it on Tranquil Acres Facebook page. It's a public page, so anybody can locate it. We've got some that has the hours of operation, cell contact, and an email address that you can even email me. We've got some upcoming special needs camps that are scheduled for June, July, and August. If the arena is completed, we'll be able to hold those every month throughout the winter. Many people also hold their birthday parties at the farm, and they pick out a special animal for the kids to be around. Many families have had their family portraits taken. I have a full-time photographer that actually works at the barn.
Oh, what a great idea. That's really cool.
Yeah. All can, like I said, all can call my cell and schedule a visit due to my work schedule. Generally, those visits work out well on the weekends. I also have a very good friend of mine that orchestrates many fundraisers that go on throughout the month. Those can be checked out on the Facebook page. And then you can also follow us on TikTok. I've from the day that the horses come in until today's date, I constantly do updates on the then and the now. And that's at L Martinelli 828. But I'd really like to thank all the volunteers and friends and our team of farriers and vets and specialists that have helped the farm. Those that have donated their time and monetary donations that have helped save these guys' lives. But I really appreciate the invite today to share more about the farm and get the word out there.
That's outstanding. Lori, we really appreciate the time. What great information and what amazing things you guys are doing at Tranquil Acres. I mean, certainly can't put a monetary value to that for saving the life of horses and giving them extended life. That's just absolutely amazing, as well as the other animals you have there. But thank you so much, and we really appreciate the time.
And thank you.
Misspeak of the week time. President Joe Biden held a virtual meeting with manufacturers of baby formula last week. He reviewed efforts to address the nationwide shortage.
Today, we're announcing the United Airlines has agreed to offer cargo space for Kendall NutriCare for the delivery of 3.7 bottles of the formula.
3.7 bottles, Sherry. Wow.
Wow. You know,
That is good. That is, you talk about a difference maker. This is it.
3.7 is, it will change everything. But that's not all. Just a couple minutes later, he tried to hand the meeting off.
I'm going to make sure the families in every part of the country can get the formula they need. I look forward to our conversations today. So I want to thank you all. And now I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Secretary. I'm going to have you speak now and your remarks, and then we're going to hand it over to Samara, to my behind me here. All yours.
So,
all yours, Mr. Secretary.
We've all been there, Ted. I mean,
yes.
When you don't know the name or you forgot to practice it before you went out there, we've all been there. It's
cue cards. The man needs cue cards.
Yes.
Perhaps written in a ridiculously large font.
Yeah, that wasn't good. And of course, that's the misspeak of the week.
Sherry, we have some good news. The second annual Josh Fight went down in Lincoln, Nebraska. It is a battle over the name Josh. It started as an online joke when Josh Swain of Tucson, Arizona, tweeted a challenge last year for anybody named Josh to fight him for the name. This year, combatants used pool noodles.
Ooh.
And wore costumes. In the end, nobody could dethrone 5-year-old Josh Vincent Jr., who defended his title as the number one Josh. Now, you might be saying, well, this is kind of ridiculous. Why is this good news? Well, the event raised nearly $21,000 for the Children's Hospital and Medical Center in Omaha, and the owners of the Josh Cellars wine label pledged to match that amount with a donation of their own.
Oh, that is good news.
Yeah,
But
nothing like a little
why?
fight with a pool noodle.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna bring a weapon to the fight, a pool noodle is the weapon to bring. I mean,
Well, that's what I've heard. Yes, that's.
but I don't understand how this even started. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever. Good news. Good
Hey,
news.
you want to fight over the name Sherry?
No, actually, I would give it away tomorrow if someone wanted to take it.
I'm sure you'll make sure you tell your parents to listen to this episode. I'm sure they'll be happy.
Nope, won't.
All
do
right.
that.
Well, there you go. There's some good news.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Well, time for another Cleveland sports history lesson. Our professor today is the ever famous Dusty Sloan. Dusty, I have a good one for you today. We move to June 22nd, 1946. Bill Veeck, really interesting character, buys the Cleveland Indians at that time. What can you tell us about when he bought the Cleveland Indians? And what else can you tell about the very interesting, very talented man, Bill Veeck?
Well, obviously, if you're a member of the Baseball Hall of Fame, you did something right. So despite all the quirkiness of Veeck and maybe his sons moving forward and minor league baseball, independent baseball, and all that stuff, we just focus on Bill Veeck and the Indians. What he did really set the tone for what the franchise would be moving forward, because he moved the team to Municipal Stadium in 47. He obviously signed Larry Doby, the first African-American player in the American League, then moved on to Satchel Paige and signed him to a contract. So you talk about all of the big things that he did, obviously the 1948 World Series. So it was a big deal in Cleveland to have Bill Veeck and someone who was an owner who obviously got things done, because obviously we all know that this day and age with the Guardians, we have an owner that isn't necessarily getting things done, but this one did. And it was unfortunate because I'm reading up on him, and it says that the only reason he ever got rid of the Indians was because he divorced his first wife and he needed the money for the settlement. So he could have been there a lot longer than just 4 or 5 years, but wife got him.
Oh, golly.
Needed cash. He needed cash.
The liquidity back then in the late 40s was not good for him. So
now Bill Veeck was known for some of the more unique promotions, was he not?
Yeah, he was definitely one who kind of pushed the envelope when you're talking about promotions and things like that. And back then, I mean, let's face it, when you're talking about when he owned the Indians and then he owned the St. Louis Browns and then the White Sox, you had to do things like that because you're in post-war. People are still trying to get back to what we call some kind of normalcy. And you had to come up with things to kind of get butts in the seats. And he did it. And obviously it wasn't too crazy because it worked, and he's a member of the Hall of Fame. So obviously you don't see many things like that in Major League Baseball right now where people push the envelope because of the kind of the staid nature of Major League Baseball. You certainly see it in a lot of the minor leagues, particularly with names choices and things like that. But Bill Veeck certainly would qualify as a one of a kind.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Well, we'll leave it with this one. So I did a little research. Ted, I know you're falling off your chair.
I don't know what you're talking about here.
This is one I did not know, and I'm not sure if you knew this or not, Dusty. Bill Veeck is the gentleman who came up with the idea for the ivy at Wrigley Field. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was a vendor, and they were asking questions one time as he was vending at a Cubs game. And he says, you know what, you guys should come up with ivy or something like that and put that on the outfield wall. How about that? I mean, that's very interesting, man, but certainly very innovative. But Dusty, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it. Nice to go back and talk about I guess you could call him a character, Bill Veeck, who bought the Indians in 1946 on June 22nd. Thanks again, Dusty.
Thanks, guys.
Cleveland! This is for you!
All right, time for a little sports talk here. We're going to talk Browns, and I'm hoping that the names Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson are either not mentioned any more than what I just did or mentioned minimally. The topic that we came up with to chat about briefly that has become a big chatter topic here on Cleveland radio in the last week or so. Odell Beckham Jr. is a free agent and possibly could, there's 32 teams he could sign with, obviously Cleveland being one of them, but supposedly Myles Garrett and a couple other teammates have lobbied for his return.
Yeah.
So as a fan, I'll let our young lady go first. Would you want the Browns to bring Odell Beckham Jr. back, Sherry?
So I've thought a lot about this, and I was okay when he left because I just thought at the time, and I know you don't want me to mention Baker Mayfield's name.
We don't talk about
Baker.
No.
But I at the time thought that that it just didn't work between him and Baker Mayfield, and that Baker Mayfield seemed to do better when Odell Beckham Jr. was not on the field. So I was okay with it. But now that Baker appears to be a non-factor.
Wait, could you say that name anymore, Sherry?
I know, right? Now that appears to be the case, I guess, he is a talented wide receiver. It would be great if we had, if we had him on the team and it worked. It does seem that he gets along with everyone else except the person you don't want me to mention.
Thank you.
So I'm assuming that maybe he would get along with the other person you don't want me to mention, and it would be, not get along, but they would have a good playing relationship. So if that's the case, and he really wants to come back and could help us, I guess I'm okay with that.
All right. Well, there's two reasons why I don't particularly want him to come back.
Okay.
Number one, he tore his ACL for the second time in the Super Bowl, and so he's not going to be available at the start of the season. And when he is available, you tear your knee twice. How much speed do you lose?
Yeah.
So I don't, we're allegedly in this win now mentality. So I don't know that we should wait on that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is true or not, but there were media reports out there that Odell Beckham supposedly during the free agency 2 years ago, the Browns had interest in one or two players, and Odell Beckham said, "You don't want to come here."
Oh, wow. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. So now I don't know if that's true or not. And I would think that if that was true, then his teammates wouldn't be lobbying for him to come back. But that was reported on more than one in more than one place. So I don't know. Just the main reason I don't think we have time to wait for a guy that's rehabbing his second ACL injury. So
no, that's a valid point. It's a valid point. He also, is a little bit of a prima donna. So, having that vibe on the team.
Way to stick your neck out, Sherry.
Well, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice. But he's also very talented. At least he has been in the past. And so if I want to win, my dad is 74 years old. And every time he hears about a Browns rebuilding plan, he says, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So for my dad, I want them to win, and I want them to win soon.
Yeah.
So if that's going to make it happen, then I'm okay with that.
All right. Fair enough. Well, I guess we'll wait and see if OBG comes back. OBG. Yeah, you know me, but we'll see if OBJ returns to the CLE.
The most trusted name in journalism, Klopp's Klips.
All right, Sherry, time for the news you may have missed, but we're here to make sure you have it now.
Woo!
60-year-old German man apparently got the COVID-19 vaccine up to 90 times in order to sell forged vaccine cards.
Oh, my God.
With real vaccine batch numbers to people not wanting to get vaccinated. He got caught when he showed up for a COVID shot at the same vaccination center on consecutive days. That was a genius move. The police say he had several blank vaccine cards with him.
That can't be good for you.
No,
90?
it can't be. No matter what you think, whether the vaccine's good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
90 doses of it. I'm going to say that's a little, yeah.
No.
And of course, when I mentioned this story to my wife, she said the only way that story could be any better is if the guy still wound up getting COVID. I said, Mike Tyson has a cannabis company called Tyson 2.0. One of the edible cannabis gummies that they produce is in the shape of a bitten ear.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Now, you may recall, obviously Sherry recalls, but in case you don't recall, Tyson bit off part of Evander Holyfield's ear during a boxing match. Well, the bitten ear edible gummy can't be sold in Colorado.
What?
Yeah, there's a state law prohibiting marijuana edibles from being shaped like humans, animals, fruit, or other images that could attract children.
Now, wait a minute. What child is going to want to eat a bitten off ear?
Well, I think the bigger question is, why would a child be anywhere near edible cannabis gummies?
Well, I have heard that cannabis gummies have been mistaken for real gummies.
Okay.
Before.
Okay.
So that has happened. But if I were a little kid, it wouldn't. It's one thing to be in the shape of a bear or something that little kids like. A bitten off ear? I'm not sure that I would. Yeah, I would eat that. But okay, whatever.
Yeah. And a TikTok video from a woman who works as an adult dancer has gone viral. In the video, she says she was hired to perform for a bachelor party. And she says it wasn't until she was on stage performing that she realized the bachelor party was for her own brother. No word as to how that event ended.
It couldn't have ended well. That's no. That would be every brother's worst nightmare. I would imagine.
Probably every sister's too.
Yeah.
I think that's just bad all around.
Yeah.
I don't see
no.
The money stays in the family. Maybe that's the
yeah, that's the only upside.
That's there you go.
Whew.
All right. Well, there's no word as to we just have the sister's reaction, which clearly wasn't positive. No word on the brother's reaction in that situation.
I'm sure he was scarred for life.
Well, I hope we didn't scar you for life with this week's collection of Klopp's Klips.
Oh no, not a dad joke.
What sound does a witch's car make?
I have no idea.
Broom, broom.
That joke was horrible.
Sherry, we're wrapping up episode 90 of one middle-aged man and one young lady in Cleveland.
And not even in Cleveland.
You can't say that.
Well,
in Ohio, that's close enough.
Yeah, I grew up near there, so that should count, right? Yeah.
I know from looking at your Facebook that you spent some time at a baseball diamond this past weekend. Are there more baseball games in your future?
There's always baseball games in my future. Yes, my youngest son plays travel baseball, which is crazy. But actually, we were up there. We were up that way for his game this last weekend. We were in Huron. The game was in Huron. We stayed in Elyria, so we drove.
Thanks for letting me know.
I was only there for baseball games.
Yeah.
Not any time really much for anything else, but it was cool. It was fun being up there. We listened to some Cleveland radio stations, WMMS, brought back some childhood memories. So that was fun. But yeah, he has a baseball game again on Thursday. Then he has another tournament this coming weekend in Mansfield.
I hope you know how to get there.
Yeah, I know how to get there. So, but let me tell you, Ted, I know you have 3 boys, and I know at least 1 or 2 of them is playing baseball. Wait till you get to this
3
stage.
of them.
All 3? Oh,
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
realize. I didn't realize all 3.
Thankfully, 2 of them are on the same team.
Okay.
We
Well,
kind of
there you go.
manipulated that, but yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
for example, tonight we have 1 game at 6:30 and 1 game at 8:15 at 2 different fields.
Nice.
So,
Yeah. Well,
we're used to this because during hockey season, they're all on different teams.
yeah.
And this coming season, we may have 1 kid who plays goalie on 1 team and skates on another. So we may have 3 kids on 4 different teams.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, I don't recommend travel baseball then because it gets really crazy. Like, you play on Saturday, and then depending on how many games you won and the run differential of those games, you get seated for Sunday, and you don't know until Saturday night what time you're going to play on Sunday. And I mean, it's a hot mess. Yeah.
Well, we have that for the hockey tournaments that we go to, but let's just say we usually count on being in the consolation game.
Got it. I understand.
So, yeah, we had when hockey season ended and we hit spring, we were doing for all 3. Let's see, golf on Mondays, could be baseball practice on Tuesdays, lacrosse on Wednesdays, could be baseball on Thursdays, and then Friday / the weekend, they have what's called drop-in practices for hockey, where you don't have to sign up ahead of time. It's just, if you have time,
come on in,
and it's a fee per practice. So,
oh boy.
Oh yeah. We always celebrate when we get all the kids to the right places at the right times.
Nice.
I think I talked about this on the show last year. There was one situation where we had a home game, and my wife took the proper kid to Mentor.
Okay.
Yeah, the game was in Shaker Heights.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, so you know who Bobby Carpenter is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he is from the town that I live in, and my husband did a video project with him recently. And he was talking at this video project, he was talking about how he didn't know how his mom, he has 2 little kids now. He didn't know how his mom got all of them, all these different places. And so we asked her, he's like, well, how did you handle all that when we were little? And she said, well, at one point I just called the coach and said, is my kid important enough to have to be at practice tonight? And the coach would say, if the coach said yes, or she's like, okay, then you can come pick him up. Here's our address.
Nice. That is awesome.
Yes, I thought that was awesome too. So, there's a coach out there who said that Bobby Carpenter wasn't important enough to be at practice.
Yep.
And now, he's been in the NFL and, played for Ohio State and all of those things. So, yeah. So I thought it was pretty awesome. Yeah.
That's one way to handle it, certainly.
Absolutely.
And of course, back then we didn't have Outlook invites and texting and apps that tell you when the game is or anything like that.
Yep. So she
a lot
just
of
put it
poster
on
board and a lot of notes, I'm guessing.
Yep. Just put it on the coach to come pick up her kid.
Well, next week on the show, or I should say next time on the show, Ken will be back. We'll hear about his wedding, and we're going to visit with Cleveland Metro Parks historian and archivist Judy McKeegan. I'm going to learn all about the Cleveland Metro Park. So that should be an interesting conversation, as that area has certainly grown over the years, and it's now quite a large area with lots of different parks and lots of different cities. So we'll have that in a couple of weeks. Sherry, thanks for joining us. Anything stand out here from your debut as a co-host, substitute co-host on this particular program?
It was a lot of fun, but I feel like as a woman on 2 middle-aged men in Cleveland, I probably shouldn't be a show regular. Just saying.
Does that mean you're a show irregular?
There you go. That works. Yeah, that works.
All right, Sherry. Well, thank you for your time, and just remember, We're Two Middle-Aged Men in Cleveland.
Two Middle-Aged Men in Cleveland is sponsored by Westminster AV, custom audio-visual packages for all occasions.
We don't talk about
Baker.
No.